Hello, SISociety here, and we are dropping into today's taboo topic, which is all around dominatrixing. And we're going to be joined by our beautiful entrepreneur, our beautiful dominatrix, Zyra Cloud, and just one as Heather. We're going to be exploring the roles of submissive and dominatrix and how that fits into this month's topic, which is all around the art of sacred, conscious sex work. Okay. Hi, Valentina. Oh, hello.
Oh, hi. So that doesn't work, does it? We just were, just for those of you, as we were waiting for her to hop on, Alfina and I were in the same room from two different devices, and we didn't think about the feedback loop. So I just rushed to another room and got set up really quickly. And yeah, I'm very excited about today's conversation and yeah, diving more deeply into the space of the conversation of sex work, specifically around dominatrix work. Yeah.
Yeah. We have such an amazing guest today, one of my good friends. We live together on Maui, and Zyra, you should be able to request to join if you press that button below. I don't see a request from you coming through. Yeah, this topic is so juicy. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people maybe who are watching this that have questions. So if you have any questions for Zyra, please drop it in the comments below, and we'll make sure that your question gets asked and answered.
Oh, I was playing with filters. We'll do that another time. So there's a, Zyra, there's a small plus sign at the bottom. And if you click the plus sign, the prompt should, there we go. Yeah.
Oh wait,
Are
I
you there?
think Valentina joined by an accident. Wait, Valentina, you have to close it out of yours. Oh my goodness.
That's really funny.
This is gonna be a funny talk, I can already tell, just because of like all the funny things that have already happened. And for any of those of you who are joining us for this conversation, we're SISociety, and we have these taboo talks, these discussions weekly, where we get to chat with somebody, an interesting and inspirational leader in whatever topic it is that we're exploring this month. This month is all around sex work. And we have these talks just to gain information and wisdom and have these experts drop their juicy codes for us to receive. And tonight we're going to be, or I guess this morning, wherever you are in the world, you're going to be talking to Desire Dominatrix Zyra Cloud. So Zyra, we're just waiting for her to join. There's a little arrow and like a little person. You should be able to just click that down below, Zyra, to be able to request to join.
And then Alfina, I'm not sure if it's or what's going on your end, but it just, does everyone else, oh, it stopped. Okay, it just kept saying exposure and just kept blinking exposure. I think maybe we lost her. Zyra, how can we support you in getting on? And yeah, thank you everyone else for your patience as we navigate.
I can hear, I'm inviting you. Oh, it says you need the latest version of Instagram, Zyra. I think you have to update your app. A quick
So
little Instagram update.
just a little update. And Elfina, you're still blinking. Can everyone else see this too? At the bottom of her screen, it just says exposure. Oh, it stopped now. Okay. It's almost like the XXX signs, you know? It's like just
Did you hear what I was saying, Zyra? How you need to update?
so Zyra, if you could hear right now, I think Elfina's having some tech difficulties. I think we all are, which is I think Mercury's in retrograde. I don't know. But you need to update your Instagram in order to be able to come on with us. There's some sort of plug-in that you aren't plugged into. So once you do that, we can start the conversation with you.
And maybe in the meantime, I don't know, Heather. I just want to ask you a question.
Maybe I'll answer.
About this, I don't know, like dominatrix, submissive. What which of these roles, if either of them, have you been curious or explored yourself?
So I've always had a curiosity about deepening my exploration to the BDSM world. And specifically, I've been spending some time in Berlin where it's,
You don't say.
I don't say where we are, where, yes, sexuality is in the frequency here, and it's just more often discussed. And there's a lot of clubs that you can connect to explore this topic. And so, yeah, I feel really curious to explore more of a dominant position. And I definitely feel some resistance in that because, I mean, I was born a feminine, I feel like I naturally kind of fall into the softer feminine roles, specifically within sexuality. And yay, now we can talk to you about this.
Yes, beautiful.
I'm off the hook. She started asking me questions, and I was like, I don't want to answer. Where is this girl?
I wanted to hear too, though, because I feel like
you got juicy bits. Your story is so fascinating, and I love to hear.
Yeah, I would love to share. She just asked me if I wanted to explore BDSM, and I was like, I definitely want to dominate, but I feel resistance because I don't feel like I have structure to do it, you know? And I think maybe that's part of it is exploring. But yeah, I'm curious after we introduce you to maybe dive into some of this and get your perspective on it, because I'm sure I'm not the only person, and maybe some people listening also want to explore this, and maybe this can serve as a roadmap for them to just dabble a little bit. Say hello.
you look so gorgeous.
Oh,
So
you ladies too.
So happy.
Beautiful beings to get to be in the presence of and discuss such juicy topics that are taboo and exhilarating, kind of get our blood pumping more. It really shows where there's aliveness in our body. When our hearts palpate faster, those butterflies in our stomach, it's like there's going to be something potent and powerful here. So awesome to find safe places to explore those desires and those sensations and those curiosities. And I think, yes, safe container that you feel comfortable in really helps you be able to expand and develop into more sensitivity of your own awarenesses of what's going on and what you like and what you don't like and how that can change. But yeah, I'm Zyra. I'm so excited to be here. Stoked to get to be hugging the globe from all of these different sides. Such a blessing.
Yeah, it's an honor to have you and to meet you. Elfina, you're breaking up a little bit on and off, but if you want to introduce Zyra, she briefly introduced herself, and she spoke, I don't know if you heard, spoken to a safe container, and I feel like we're so honored and grateful to be cultivating the space of SISociety, because that's really the through line of the whole community is safety and a safe space to feel seen and feel heard. And a shameless haven is what Elfina coined as our core the other day, and I really love that. So yeah, I'm excited to meet you and yeah, get to dive more deeply into this, because I know personally I'm super curious. And again, for those of you who are just joining, if you have questions along the way, please post those in the chat and we'll try to get to all of them throughout this conversation.
Yeah. We just want to briefly introduce you for those of you who are hopping on here. This is Zyra Cloud. She's a dear sister, soul sister of mine on Maui. And yeah, she is an enthusiastic explorer of human desire and is just really on this mission to destigmatize and to dissolve the shame that lies in our desires. And I think it's so beautiful through curious exploration and play and erotic expression. And I have learned so much just from the short amount of time just hanging out with you. I gleaned so much wisdom and so much embodiment through you, through your expression, through your energy. And I'm really honored that you're sitting here with us. And I'm so excited to glean even more information from all of your experiences. And I know that you're in school too, studying this as well. So you have that mental knowledge as well as like the embodied practice of actually being in this role. So I would love for you to start with just opening up about maybe like your journey and how it led you into doing this Desire Dominatrix thing, and yeah, just tell us a little bit about your journey here.
I'd love to. Thank you so much, both of you, for inviting me into this amazing container. I love it. I love that people are getting access to being able to discuss topics that they might not normally be able to have a community around them to share. And sometimes maybe their community at their own space is makes them feel a little too vulnerable. So I love saying go into the yellow, being in that safe, healing place of resilience where you can be nervous and excited, but still be aware to learn and pay attention. Because when we get a little too out of our comfort zone, we go into that fight or flight. So it's all about staying present. How present can we be in life? I think that's one of my big missions, and that's one of the things that led me into a lot of my different school endeavors. I went to massage school right after high school. I studied with a beautiful couple doing tantra work here on the island. Recently was just in a dominatrix program with this woman, Mistress Dominatrix, who's based in LA. Amazing, amazing woman, great framework. So people who are looking to explore deeper into especially providing a service of being a dominant, I think getting some kind of training and mentorship especially is vital for our learning and growth and safety of ourselves and the people that we're working with, so that we can even share this really exciting session happened and how I'm feeling about it. And so I love community, I love containers. I'm in this training program with Mistress Dominatrix, who is a psychologist, has her PhD in psychology, and really structures her stuff around the psychology of people's makeup, what drives them, why they have specific kinks. And that's what led me into kink work, fetish work in the first place. Is I'm just so intrigued and fascinated with the way we link pleasure in our brains. I think it's so amazing how to somebody sticking your feet in mud is just like, could be gross to somebody else. It can be the most sensuous experience. So it's really fascinating to me, the different ways we kind of dissect experiences and assimilate them into our bodies. And I'm really into, how can we have more pleasure? I'm a Taurus sun. I'm like pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. In its variety of forms, even the initiation of hard experiences. Where can we find the pleasure in that? Where can we find the preciousness of the singularity experience of something really big, and to really let each thing evolve and open up into new places within ourselves, so that we can really come to more compassion within ourselves and to others. And sometimes compassion looks like a hard, swift smack on the butt. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love impact play.
Okay,
Yeah.
wait. I am so excited and lit up by what you're just sharing right now, because I absolutely adore psychology and just understanding people and how they work and why they are the way that they are. And I've done my own self-exploration around like some of my kinks, and I really love to be spanked, right? And I didn't understand it at first, but then I realized when I was little, I was spanked and I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a say. So now, as an adult and an embodied woman, I get to choose to tell someone to do it. And that's really healing for me. I can literally feel the new neural pathways being created. And I think this leads me to my next question for you. Do you often find that people's kinks are directly connected to like a wounding, or maybe something that they were suppressed within the space of as a child? Is that normal?
I think that is a phenomenal question and inquiry. And I would say from my own experience, yes, that rings true. And from the plethora of people that I have met, have also had very similar experiences where something that wasn't anything that they had power or control over, now they're rewriting that experience and getting what I like to say like a corrective experience of it, and having that choice and saying, you know what, I want you to hit me, and I want you to hit me like this, and being able to say what you want and get it is so empowering. And it's this whole claiming process. There's a book that I love. It's called The Erotic Mind by Jack Moran, and he is delicious. It's like an existential kink kind of styly book, which is also phenomenal. Highly, highly recommend that. In Jack Moran's book, he talks about our different sexual experiences, where it's maybe a physical experience or even just a fantasy. And you kind of dissect the experiences and figure out the underlying themes of the experience. And you'll kind of see a lot of themes could maybe be like, I like to be dominated. I like a little bit of fear, anxiety. Or it could be, I like to feel really safe. I like to be comfortable. I like to be deliciously soothed with somebody I'm very close with. It's a beautiful way to kind of look into what actually excites us, because some things that we might think excite us don't have as much charge as other experiences too. And with spanking in particular, I've also found that to be deeply, deeply, deeply therapeutic. I use it to help me get out of my mind. Sometimes it's hard to drop back into my body if I'm feeling particularly anxious about something and keep ruminating around in my thoughts. A smack on my butt or inner thighs in particular, because that gives a nice sting, really reworks the brain and kind of sends this different sensation and awareness to your body to be like, wait, wake up. Where are you? Where's your attention? Where do you want it to go? So I love spanking in ways for myself to help bring me back into my body. And a whole variety of kink can be deeply play and deeply, deeply, deeply therapeutic. And that's what I love so much about it as well. So I might have just weebled around that question.
No.
There's just so many roads and avenues we could take, but it's just so interesting because Heather and I were just receiving these codes from this other tantric practitioner a couple nights ago, and he was sharing that, like, if, you know, in like a sexual stimulating situation, that like a spank or like anything with the body, it just is like it's that pathway that brings us back into the body and out of the mind. And when we're in that pleasure state, it's so easy to kind of reel back and start to get into the mind, and then that's when we like disconnect from being in our fullest pleasure. So being in that more like primal play of like a slap or a spank or a tickle or like a scratch, like that just like instantly jolts us back and allows us to just be in our pleasure bodies.
Yeah.
So,
and then I was sharing with you too, it's so interesting. I didn't know that there was an art behind spanking. I just thought you spanked, and I was at this hedonistic event that we're also facilitating at next week called Hedone. Definitely check it out if you haven't heard of it. It's really exciting and beautiful artistic pleasure movement. But there was an artist there, and his name was Spanky, and he was this world spanking artist. And I was like, oh yeah, he just spanks people, you know, like I just kind of, not that I minimized it, I just was like, oh, he's a spanker. And my girlfriend was like, no, there's an art to it. And where he spanks you, how hard he spanks you, actually there's different, you know, points in the body. He's almost following like the meridian system that one does in acupuncture. And you can actually release trauma like from the body. So you can like openly share what you're moving through and what you're holding on to. And he can spank you in a particular way that can actually allow your body to somatically release trauma. And I was like, what? That's crazy. Like sexual healing, you know, like there's a song around it. There's a song around it for a reason.
Yeah. And we store so much in our hips. So that too would just really help shake up those areas. That's amazing. I love that. I love that. I haven't heard about using like meridian points with it. I love that. But there definitely is an art to spanking and to warming up the body, and of different positioning to minimize the sensation or maximize the sensation, dependent on the person's desires and needs. And that's something that's really, I find, what a lot of people don't sometimes get about domination and submission is the dominant is actually, in my opinion, and the stance I take, is kind of the service provider of the submissive, there to like guide them through their desires and their pleasures and to push them to their limits, to really let them forget about what they need to think about and expand as far deep as that they're willing to go. And I think that the good boundary system and putting up something in place, having that great framework. So when you're thinking of playing with your partner, with a friend, I think it's so important to talk about like what your desires might be. I don't know if you've ever done like the BDSM talk, which is a really great breakdown for kind of playing intimately with people. And that just helps give a little bit of information about where each person's coming from so that they can see how in alignment they are. Because, and I think that's the big thing, is celebrating yeses and celebrating nos is really, really important when we're working with anything in life, and especially with vulnerable topics and kink play and desires like that, because somebody's no is a huge yes to themselves, and it also gives you an opportunity to find somebody who's going to be more in alignment with the thing that you're most juicy about. Because I know when I have something really excited I want to share with somebody and they receive it really in a delicious way, it's yes. But when it's not received that way, it's not as much fun. So you find something that both people are going to feel really juicy and great about and celebrate where everybody is in each moment. I think it's
and
really
even finding like if it's not a full yes, maybe it's just, oh well, I don't know about this, but maybe we could try this, and finding some sort of like compromise and place in between. I just want to like jump into it because I feel like everyone like wants to know like what is a day in your life? Like what does your job look like? What does a Desire Dominatrix do?
Yeah, please. Exactly what I was going to ask. Well done.
Yay. Well, what's so exciting and fantastic about it is each session is totally different. Each time I get to play with somebody, even if it's second, third, fourth, 12th time playing with them, we're going to have a totally different experience because of the ways that we're showing up. So I have my routines that I do to prepare myself and get myself in my mode. One thing for me is my boots. I love my big thigh-high boots. That helps drop me into my role and my stance, because I technically will stand at like 6'3", and that is just delicious for me. So when I meet with clients, with my dear sweet submissives, we have at first just a nice little conversation. I drop in, I see how they're feeling in this moment, what's going on, what parts of their body needs more attention, what parts of their body needs to be avoided, and we just connect as friends for a moment. And then we'll switch things up. And there'll be a very clear indication. Stance will change, positioning will change, and then I usually have them strip because they don't get to wear clothes. I want them as vulnerable as possible. Because in that positioning, that also puts them in that mindset of letting go, releasing control. I want them, when they're with me, to not think about what's going on the outside world, to really have this place of meditation and complete surrender into the moment. So dependent on what their particular desires and kinks are, I'll explore them with them in a variety of ways. And what's so beautiful about kink work is your positioning. When you show up with that big, beautiful, open heart, the things I say or may do or do to your body per your request might look a certain way, but sometimes tying a string around somebody's balls and yanking it and sticking your foot in their mouth and making them worship in between your toes is the most loving act you can do for somebody. And I think that is being able to provide something that somebody might have never gotten to experience before is just such an honor and such a fun, playful way to explore. So my sessions are very wide-ranging with the ways that we play, but the underlying theme is care, exploration, discovery, what's going on in your body, and a deep reprogramming of you deserve this. Yeah. Your pleasure is important. You are important. Even if you want to be made to feel so small in that moment, I chose you to make you feel so tiny underneath me because I love you and I care about you. So we get to have a lot of reprogramming experiences in so many different ways. And then aftercare. Aftercare is so important and looks very different for each person. So before sessions, there's a lot of communication, and then like a couple days before the session, and then the day of the session, a drop-in, go into the session with delicious kinky exploration, and then sweet aftercare, which a lot of times for my sessions, I am an erotic body worker, so a lot of times that's a wonderful way to wrap up a session, especially if it's something that really pushes them to their limits, to let them feel that soothing touch enveloping all of their body, and then receive a release. And then I give them some water and some chocolate and some fruit. I'll send them on their kinky merry way. And yeah, I look forward to doing that later today as well.
Wow. I feel like I want a session with you after you sharing this, because I just think I would just, you know, being a submissive, right, would just be me getting beat up. It's like how it's portrayed in the media and in the movies. It's like there isn't this deep conversation and communication before, or the conversation aftercare. And that's just now coming into my field and allowing me to feel really safe to step into these places. And I think a question that I have for you, I'm so grateful for you in this work. It's so courageous and beautiful what you do. You're like a light worker in the shadow, and it's like, it's so courageous. It's the best way to describe it. But like for those, like I've had past partners and people I've connected with, and I'm having this conversation trying to conjure their desires, right? Like, what do you like? What are you into? And they're like, I don't know. No one's ever asked me that. It's like, how do you manage a client or somebody who like has never gotten in touch with or lassoed their desires or what they really want? Like, what is that conversation? How does that take shape?
I love that. That is such a great conversation starter, because it's amazing how many people are so out of touch with their pleasure bodies and what they'd like, and two, have never been asked that question. So I think that's why sex work and sex workers are so fantastic, to help give us that opportunity to think about things. One thing I like to also invite them to think about is, what do they think about or fantasize about when they masturbate? If they go to a certain type of porn, if they ever watch porn, because sometimes people might be like, I don't have a kink or a fetish, but I always look for stepsister brother porn, or I always look for outdoor by a river porn. You know, so sometimes we're not fully aware of something that we're aware of. So that's why that erotic mind also is great with that, about looking into the sexual experiences that we've had that we've really liked, our fantasies that get us most exhilarated and tantalized, when we naturally, even paying attention to when we masturbate. Do we tend to masturbate in the morning when we wake up, in the afternoon, in the evening? How do we masturbate? Do we just go quick? Are we standing? And I'm also, to derail a little bit, in a sexological bodywork program right now. And one of the things I do is masturbation coaching, to really help people get out of the ways they're currently masturbating, because it might be just out of routine. They think they like it because this is what they've done, but they don't really know if they like it or not. So I like to invite them and encourage them of a whole bunch of different styles and ways of touching themselves, so then they can see and be curious, do I like this? What pleasure does this give me in this moment? And I'm very much into giving a variety of sensations. So I have a lot of rabbit fur, soft, fuzzy, scratching nails, floggers, temperature play. So I think sometimes when we just give ourselves permissioning to explore, we can discover what we actually like. Because a lot of times people learn to masturbate quickly in a hurried way. Mom's going to be home soon. I don't want sister to come in the room. So they learn to just, how can I have a quick release, instead of what feels good? And my thing is to drop people into discovering what feels good. And yeah, so I think even having that desire to ask somebody, bam, that's going to open up so much. Even if right then it makes them shy and nervous, giving them the invitation to be curious will be a great way to plant seeds. And then, yeah, invite them to explore a little bit more.
So beautiful. Wow. So we have our first question from the audience. And this is a question I'm sure a lot of people watching might have. And that is, I want to try being a dom with my partner. How can I start?
Oh, I love that. That's so fun. And it's great to do lifestyle stuff. I think creating a scene, creating a certain little framework of what you think that they might enjoy, talking to them what they would like. How do you show up in your most dominant self? That's something to look at. What's most authentic for you in your expression of your dominance? Do you find yourself to be queenly and you want him to worship you and to honor your body? Do you want to turn him into furniture and sit on him and make him crawl you around the room? There's so many different ways, but I think a great way to really have an amazing experience is to feel into what's authentic for both of you. What would feel, especially if you're wanting to be dominant, what's going to get you going? And does that line up with what would be enjoyable for him?
So I hear having the conversation first, which I know you touched on this before, would be a really important place to start, like sitting down and just having a heart-to-heart about where your boundaries lie, where their boundaries lie, maybe fears, desires, kind of just going through those different portals and seeing where the yeses align, and then starting from there and creating. For me, it feels like a video game, right? Like you're kind of bringing someone into this world of yours and you get to create. It's like the rest of the world disappears, and then it's your world that you're cultivating and building together, brick by brick, in the moment. So,
I love that. That's so good.
That's how I see it. I used to play a lot of like role-playing video games, when I was younger, and that's kind of how I feel. I'm like, oh, if I'm bringing someone into this parallel dimension or universe, what do I want that to look like and feel like? Right? If they're like, I don't want to say necessarily escapism is necessarily the core of being dominated or submissive, but like almost stepping outside of the realm of everything else we know and creating something brand new feels really exciting. So
yeah,
I
love that. I love that. And I love that co-collaborative experience, because that's what makes it really safe and juicy. And the big thing of it is to stay in it the whole time, unless of course you're going into subspace and your desire is to get somebody to that point of total utter submission and release. But other than that, you want them fully aware and in their bodies during things, so they can be in full consent. And consent can change. I think in regards to like with your partner too, it doesn't have to be as like formal of a sit down. You can be massaging each other's feet on the couch and being like, ooh, baby, I would love to shove my foot in your mouth now. And make you get on your knees and taste all of the places I've been. And that's what's also interesting to see what form, because that can come in, that scene right there can either be like, baby, I want to bring you so close to me. I want you to taste all of the places I've been, because you need to be along my journey with me. Or that same scene can be like, you are on the ground, you are below me, you will taste the dirt on my feet, because that is the only part of me you get to taste. Same scene, totally different feels.
Yeah.
For a different person, each of those scenes could be juicy. So it's really into paying attention to what each person would want, what gets them hot, what gets them excited. A foot, I'd love to suck a foot. Fabulous. How would you like to suck it? Which energy do you want to suck it? Because somebody who wants to worship and you're saying you're lower than me, that's going to hit them. That's not going to feel like, no, you're my queen and you're giving me a gift.
Yeah.
Like, so sitting in with, oh, how do you want to receive this type of exploration too, I find to be really important.
There's another question too, but
and before we move into this next question, I just wanted to say something that was coming through. It feels like there's been so much talk around this dominatrix submissive roles with like women stepping into these dominatrix roles, like a lot of curiosity with women. And even you know, you're a woman yourself doing this. We are talking to another dominatrix woman next week. And I just can't help but think, like, is this a way of the feminine, like, being able to have this, like, alternative form of expression and maybe feeling suppressed in a hyper-masculine patriarchal society for so long? And is this, like, I don't know, like a part of feminism and a part of, like, claiming our power, feeling empowered and having a safe and expressive portal to do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just thought about that.
I definitely think that this is a great opportunity for women to step into their power, step into their sexuality, their sensuality, their desires, and reclaim it. And especially to be like, yes, I am safe in my feminine body. Like, I can be feminine, I can be safe, I can be powerful. And that is so corrective. It has been such an incredible gift to myself to rewrite some of the stories that my grandmother was told and that society has put onto women, and that I myself have adopted from a young age. And from the experiences that I've had, how I've let that mold and shape me. And then for me to be like, you know what? That molded and shaped me in certain ways that I can find that to be extremely alluring and exciting and playful. And I can take that power back from. And I myself am a switch. So I love to play both in submissive and dominant roles. And it really is healing and playful and fun. Like, this life, we go through so much, and we're always trying to digest and integrate. And I think kink and BDSM work is such a great way to playfully investigate different power dynamics and things that we might have desire to explore and to expand upon, but haven't found safe channels to do so. So when you find somebody who matches with the things that you want to explore, and you get to dive into those different realms, it can be really amazing, fun, corrective, and empowering for ourselves and each other. And it trickles into everyday life. The way you drive, the way I interact with the people at the grocery store, everything gets affected by everything. So be more loving and compassionate with yourself. And if you want to get spanked, find somebody who wants to spank you. I do.
Wow. I can't believe that it's already been 45 minutes, because I feel like we could talk about this for hours and hours. We'll have to have you back on in the future.
Love that.
But we do have 2 more questions from audience members. This next question: my partner loves me in the dominating role. It is so beautiful to share and brings out a new side of me. Are there good resources to expand me deeper into that for her?
Yeah, there's a bunch of different books. I read a lot on Kindle, and so sometimes I don't remember the titles of books. But I feel like there was something about like, oh man, it was just, there's like basic, there's so many dominatrix type books out there. I love Midori. She is a psychological dominatrix, does a lot of with bondage too. And it's a really amazing resource. Lee Harrington has a couple really great books, and I got to study with him before. Also, Shibari, bondage as a queer trans man, and just so supportive for so many different communities. There is my teacher, if you're wanting to study more, well, does he say he's male-bodied? If you have a penis, you can't study with my teacher. If you have a penis, if you're male-identifying, you can't study with my teacher.
Yeah, this is a man.
But one of my great resources, a person I studied with doing a little erotic hypnotism, and I've been a submissive for some of his impact play classes that he's taught. Max Cameron, exploreyourkink.org, I believe it is. Phenomenal resource. He's been studying and teaching kink since the 90s. He's in Washington, Seattle area. Is a phenomenal resource for everybody. And if you're interested in erotic hypnotism, receiving sessions, he does it through Zoom, and I'm feeling my triggers happening thinking about it. Like, whew.
Can you type that name with the erotic hypnotism like in the group chat for people?
Yeah.
I'm actually super interested in the sound of that. That sounds really powerful and like deeply healing as well.
Yeah, ditto.
And then this is a great question too. What are your top 5 favorite toys that you use when you're doing your dominatrix work? And I know maybe you can show us a little bit about the room that you're in, because there's definitely more than 5 toys in there.
I love toys. Sex stores, like my love language is going to sex stores. I was never a gift giving. That was always the bottom. But you want to give me sex store gifts? Ugh. Take me to a sex store. I am in heaven.
We need to go to Tokyo together, because Tokyo has the best sex stores. They're like 5 stories high. Everything you could ever think of, and crazy shit that you would never even be able to dream up.
Dripping from everywhere. That's a lot. Yes, I would love that. For me, there's a couple things that I use in pretty much all my sessions. I have a oil warmer, which is great because I love using warm oil on the body. It might seem simple, but there is something so erotic and pleasurable about the different places you can drip warm oil down. And then something that we all have too, breath. Your breath is a great tool to use. And on that oil will produce a different sensation. And you can make your breath hot by having an open mouth, and or cold by putting more of a whistle and doing whistle lips. And your air is cold. So you have right there hot and cold. I love playing with temperature. I always have a dildo in my freezer. And I also have a flogger with chains on it that I keep in my freezer as well. So I can deliver that different sensation of cold mixed with the hot. I do have a variety of different nails and scratchy, fun things to give a different sensation, other than, because I keep my nails pretty short because I love prostate massage. I think it is a phenomenal and very, very healthy way to keep your body in check. Floggers, so many different floggers. This one is actually, it looks, oh, it's so cute. It's cruel. It's a little genital flogger.
A genital flogger?
Yes.
Wow.
I use them on your sweet little balls and labia. And I'll make them the color of this. So fun, fun, fun. So there's a bunch of different floggers. Floggers can also be used to create sensation. You don't have to just beat somebody with it. You can tickle them. And that's a fun way to change the way the tool works. Butt plugs. I think butt plugs are such an underrated health benefit. If you want to check your nervous system and to see how relaxed you truly are in the moment, put in a butt plug. If you can't put that thing in, you are not relaxed. So butt plugs are great to help stay in the body too. Well, keep it in the body, but not all the way in the body. That's why you find one with a thin base here, wider end here. So it doesn't migrate. Vibrators.
And are there certain, yeah, there's different, like, with the different types of butt plugs, there's a bunch of different types. So what's your recommendation for someone who wants to start using those? Where to start?
I love that. I love that so much. I think if you are, especially if you're starting to do a butt plug, I personally recommend a silicone one. Something that's small with a very small base here. And silicone is nice because it's gentle, it's soft, your body can kind of melt with it. Sometimes the metal or glass ones can feel a little harder. Like, I definitely have something in my ass. So silicone is great. Lube, more lube. I definitely suggest in the shower. Every time you take a shower, put some soap on your finger and just stick it in the first rectal cavity. First, maybe second, like anal sphincter, and just kind of give yourself a little swoop. And that will, one, help clean your body, and two, that will get your finger and your butthole used to sensation there. Before doing insertion, I love doing massage. Actually, in my school program, the Sexological Bodywork program, I would be doing 45-minute external anal massage, and then doing internal work. So if you're new to anal, go slow. Take your time. There's no rush. The more relaxed you are, the more delicious it's going to feel. So really invite yourself to explore the sensations, see what they're bringing, and see how slow you can go with each thing.
And one more question about the butt plug. Is there a butt plug or butt device that is good for prostate stimulation, in particular for men?
Yeah, one of the things I have is an Enjoy. This company is phenomenal, and this toy is weighted. It's quite heavy. Can be used from both sides, dependent on the person's desirability. And this is a great prostate or G-spot stimulator. And this is good so that you can do it for yourself as well. There are also other toys. This one, I believe it's a B-Vibe. I just bought another one. Great for prostate massage. They also have ones that are weighted that are really nice if you're wanting something that has a vibration sensation. I can look that stuff up for next time. If I have a conversation next time, I can be like, these are my favorite toys, and copy and paste a link. But yeah, I think it's WeVibe is the name of that one, and Enjoy is this. That's phenomenal. I highly suggest this toy.
Thank you so much for showing us all of your collectibles.
Yeah.
Well, we're almost at our time limit, and then Instagram will cut off our video, sadly. But just within these last few minutes, for those of you who have been watching, we're just ending up this conversation with Zyra now, but how can people who are interested in working with you or learning more about, maybe they want to learn more how they can step into their own dominatrix roles, or maybe you can go find schooling or furthering their, education on these things. If you could provide some resources for people in order to take those next steps, and then also how can they connect with you?
Love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for having me on. It's been such a gift to get to share and connect, and I'm so excited for you both and what you're offering the world. Yay, yay, yay. I can be reached, if you're interested in anything I said, you can send me a message here on Instagram. And I also have a website, ZyraCloudPlays.com. There that has my email, which is ZyraCloudPlays@gmail.com. You can send me a message, and I'd love to share any of the resources I've had, or also answer any questions. If you're interested in online sessions, love doing online sessions. I began that way. So send me a message. I also do in-person sessions. Am in the midst of traveling, going to Australia in a few days to do my sexological bodywork training. So very excited about that. So if you're in Australia, hit me up.
Congratulations.
Maybe I'm gonna
Wow.
Yeah, it's such a gift to have you on. Thank you. And this community would not be anything without voices like yours. And yeah, I feel deep gratitude for your time, energy, and ultimately your work on this planet right now in this way. It's really important. You're really important. And I feel like this conversation went by in the blink of an eye. And we'd love to have you on again.
I'd love that. I'd love that. You ladies are amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I think the biggest thing I'm taking away from this is just this idea that the dominatrix isn't the one just taking. The dominatrix is truly the one that's really giving. It's like an act of service, and it can be an act of really intentional worship and love that you're pouring into someone else. So thank you for that huge perspective shift and all the wisdom and kink goodies that you share. So entertaining and so nourishing, and I'm sure that everyone here would love to pick your brain next time. So I love you so much. Thank you for coming on with SISociety. Thank you everyone for watching, and join us next Wednesday. We're going to be talking to another lovely dominatrix, and so you'll definitely want to tune in for that one too. Thank you, Zyra. Love you so much.
Zyra. And if you're interested in joining the community, send either a message to Society at Paige and Heather or Enchantress Elfina, and we'd love to discuss more with you about SISociety. And yes, next week, same time, same place. So grateful. Bye.